Good morning and Happy New Year. Welcome to episode 127 of the We Are Yarn podcast. I'm Amanda. I'll be hosting you today.
I'm going down to the drugstore, buy a big old skeiny yarn. I'm gonna knit me a kitten, even if you don't give a darn.
Well, Happy New Year! New year, new goals, a new normal for me, and baby noises in the background. I was going to try to record while baby Isaac slept. He had other plans. So he's laying on the floor and on his play mat, enjoying looking at himself in the mirror. And making faces like he may be making me a present. Anyway, enough about that. How have you been, my knitting friends? I have been wonderful, busy, like I said, still trying to find my new normal. He likes it when I talk, I guess. I hope you all had a wonderful holiday season. I hope you were all safe and enjoyed time with your family and friends. I had a wonderful holiday season. It was very low-key, very nice. I went back to work at the beginning of December. That's why I've been having a difficult time readjusting to finding a schedule. But I think we're just gonna make it work. Just gonna make it work. I have a couple of things that I'm particularly proud of that I want to show you that I finished since the last time I podcasted, which was ages ago. I have a couple of works in progress that I've really been focused on that I'd like to show you and talk about. I have a little bit of spinning, and then a few things that I got for Christmas I thought I'd show you. And maybe we should talk about goals too. Every new year I usually talk about goals and my crafting goals for the year. Do you have your beverage of choice? This year I haven't written any down. I think, honestly, okay, so my good friend Wendy, sillyfru, is hosting a knit-along for the year she's calling Don't Horde the Precious. And I think trying very hard to participate in this knit-along is going to be one of the things I do as a goal, because I have a lot of beautiful yarn that, you sit around and you wait for that perfect project, right? It's never going to come. It's like not using your china because you're waiting on the Pope to come. Pope ain't going to come to your house unless you know the Pope. Use your pretty china. Use your beautiful yarn. There's going to be more beautiful yarn. There's going to be more yarn for you to precious and hoard. Okay? So I'm trying to really grab a hold of this, and this year really work hard to use my preciouses. Now, I have a pretty large group of preciouses known as hand spun. So I spin for, I'm very much a project knitter, right? I knit because something's beautiful, and I knit because I want it. But I'm very much a process spinner. When I sit down to spin, it's a very meditative process for me. It's very, just watching the colors go by, feeling the fiber in my hands, watching that order out of chaos occur. It's just very meditative. Isaac agrees. So he says Mama needs more meditation. That's one of my goals, is to try to spend more this year. Even if I have to sacrifice having more FOs knitting, I want to be able to spin a little more. I really do. I think he's talking about a present he's making me, guys. But I want to knit more with my hand spun. I think if I knit more with my hand spun, I'll be more likely to spin more because I'll be excited about hand spun. So that is a big goal, and I think, or it's my big goal for the year. So let's see if I can stay on top of it. I do have a whip that I want to show you that is with hand spun, so that, you know, so getting moving there. New mom's coffee. Alright, so my FOs that I want to show you that I'm particularly proud of. The first one, I'm going to do it in the order the way I wrote it down so I don't get lost. I decided at the beginning of December that my son needed a stocking that I had made, and I wanted to start him on his handmade stocking his first Christmas, because I wanted it to be something that was with him his whole life. Okay? And I actually posted after I finished it that I hoped this would be something that he would treasure for decades and decades. Does that sound crazy? Are knitters only people that think that? You know, are crafters only people that give a gift and then think that? Well, here it is. Here's his little his big stocking. It turned out huge. Big as my face. So it's, you know, traditional colors. And I used the Knitted Christmas Stockings pattern by Joy Green. I followed notes on Emerald R's project because I really liked her striping and the way she did it. Okay, so here's the thing. It's only vaguely the pattern that it called for, because I read in Emerald R's notes, cast on 70, it's all free, cast on 70 stitches, so I cast on 70 stitches and joined in the round. And I was happily working in the round. La-da-da-da-da. I followed the count for how much white. The name is double stitched. After I completed the stocking, I double stitched on there. So for you guys that aren't familiar, double stitching is, this was just a white strip. I went back with a darning needle and put the green on top of the white. So it's like I just went through and copied the stitches but did it in green. Okay, so then I did the striping as she said. So then I got down to the heel, and Emerald did not have any notes about the heel. So I went to the actual, you know, the actual pattern page. This was supposed to have been done flat. So I get down to the heel, and I'm reading the pattern going, what in the world are they talking about? I don't understand. I didn't understand because I had not followed even remotely the pattern. So I just did a short row heel. I would have done the fish lips kiss, but you know, it draws it in real weird. So I just did a regular wrap and turn short row so it would lay nice and flat. And then I did 4 more stripes, and then I just made up the toe as I went because that's how I roll. So here it is. I got an adorable picture of him actually in it on Christmas Eve because he fit in it. Yeah, so that's that. Very proud of it. So I'm using Cascade 220 that I bought at my new LYS. I have a new LYS. Hook and needle here in Maryville. And yeah, so I bought this at my new LYS, and it's, I don't know, red, green, another green, and white. I don't know. I can't remember. One of the greens is celery, I think. The red may be Christmas red. Or just plain, I don't know. But there they are. I did buy enough yarn to make matching stockings for my husband and me as well. Guys, he's getting to the point where he's getting really vocal. Yeah. He's going to be like his mama was when he was little. That's all I did was talk, 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 talk. So, yeah. Oh, and I did this on a US 7, which is 4.5 millimeter. And I did indeed finish it in plenty of time for Christmas, so I was really proud of myself. Also, another FO that I'm pretty proud of, and it starts off the Don't Horde the Precious for me. Not the hand spun, but Don't Horde the Precious. I may have to pause this after the FOs and play with this adorable baby and come back to you guys. So, this is my second FO I wanted to show you. This is the Cawl Me, C-A-W-L, Cawl Me pattern by Allie Coffee of Caffeinated Knitting. And the Precious yarn is Miss Babs Yummy 2-ply Toes in the Sav 2012 colorway. So this is supposed to be a melding of a cowl and a shawl. And I think it does a right nice job. But, so this is the Cawl Me by Allie Coffee out of some Precious that I've been hoarding a long time. Because I felt like it looked, I was always inspired to knit with this yarn when the dogwood tree in my backyard started changing for the fall. Because it gets this first berries, the green, you know, of the leaves, and then the berries come out that are real bright red, and then the leaves start changing red. So you have the green leaves and the red leaves and the red berries, and I was always inspired, but I could never pick out the pattern. And then over December, the Caffeinated Knitting and Sassypants Knitter did a Holly Jolly cowl and for this pattern, and then the idea was to knit it in a Christmas themed yarn, but and I thought this was, it's red and green, right? But you didn't have to use a Christmas themed yarn, so it was okay. But so I pulled this out, balled it up, and knit with it, and it felt really good to finally be knitting with it. I think it turned out really lovely. Still haven't woven in my ends because that's how I roll, but here it is, and it was a really enjoyable knit. Let me tell you why. Because you have this little section here where you do a little bit of stockinette, some yarn over, a little more stockinette, then some garter stitch, repeat, 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 repeat. And so once you know how many garter ridges you're doing, once you know how many stockinette rows you're doing in between your lacy bit, I didn't have to look at the pattern. I could just count it and go, and it was mindless enough that I didn't have to focus. It's just good. It's good, good, good. I enjoyed it. I highly recommend the pattern. Cawl Me, C-A-W-L. So, and that was knit on a US 6 4.0 millimeter. So that's my first Don't Horde the Precious. It's my first, or it was the Holly Jolly knit along back in December. Oh, he's just too cute. He's just too cute. Okay. He's happy though, so we're just going to keep on going. If you don't mind. Do you mind? I got some good feedback last time on having him, those baby noises in the background. Like I said, he just got up from a nap and had some 11sies. Yeah, didn't you? Okay. So, what else do we have? The next thing I wanted to talk about is a very long-standing whip. I've been working on it since 2010 or 11? 10, I think. 2010. So we're going on 6 years this month. And that is the blanket. The Radiating Star Blanket by Alexis Layton. Let's see if I have a picture printed out. Yeah, I do. The Radiating Star Blanket. It is a free pattern on Ravelry. I have completed the blanket proper. So really I could bind it off now and it would be as written and I'd be done. But I still have a lot of yarn left. And one of the reasons I chose this blanket is because she included an extension so that you can keep them. She goes through, I'm on row 100 and there are 143 rows. So 43 more rows to go, but it's getting really big. I am using this line suede print that I bought way back in the day, and it was at Big Lots for $1.50 a ball. I couldn't pass it up. So it has 11 balls in it, going to by the end of it. So that's what, less than $20 for the yarn. I have I'm going to have to deal with that here in a second. I have 2 balls and I just started this one. So we might as well say 3 balls left to go. Let me go handle that. Okay, so that was a, Mommy, I need new underwear, please. That's what that was. Okay, so I was talking about the blanket. So I had 11 balls of this. I've been working on this blanket forever. I could bind it off now and be done, but then I'd have this yarn left over. So no. So here we are, and I think, did I notice the other night? The last time I showed you guys this blanket, I put a little hangy-do on it, and there's my hangy-do right here. So since I've talked about it, I've worked a fair amount. Or is that hangy-do where my last ball was joined? I don't know. I have made a note of where my last ball joined so that, I'm going to move this up, which row, so that I can see better. I can see how many rows I can expect out of my final balls, so I know how much I'll need to save out to bind off in case I don't make it all the way to row 143. So, I think I will. So this is on needles. I have no idea what size I'm working on. I'm working on an old interchangeable set I bought back when I first started knitting at Tuesday Morning. I think he's still trying to work on the present. That wasn't my present before. I have the needle. This is a good trick. So I have, to make it easier to work, I have this needle is the size, the needle that I hold in my right hand, the working needle, is the size called for in the pattern, I think, maybe. I don't know. Let's see what size that is. A 10. It's probably a 10, yeah. I'd say that. And then this one, the blue one that I hold in my left hand, is maybe a 6 or something, maybe an 8. So that when I'm moving the stitch that's going to get the next stitch put into it, it's easier to move around. Yeah. So, there it is in all its glory. And it's circular, so I just go round and round. I do feel like it has been a good gauge for my progress as a growing knitter, because when I first started, when I was going back reading my notes from the first year, I was having a hard time with the lace and counting, and I'd always end up with a stitch too many or a stitch too few. And now I just look at how I'm supposed to start out the row. So my next row is a yarn over, knit 3, yarn over. Then I can just read the lace pattern from there and know what I'm supposed to do for the rest of that repeat and then around. So I can see, that's I guess the beauty of this long-term project, is that I can notice my improvement and my growth. So that's good. And I really do. I'm so sorry if that's bugging you guys. If it does bug you, give me some feedback in the forum in the Ravelry group. For this episode, We Are Yarn is the group. And just say, you know, try to keep it while the baby's sleeping. Be nice about it. But I'm keeping this in a bucket bag that my mom got for giving some money to the Nature Conservancy. Also, I have cast on, so that's my old whip that you've seen before. I have a new whip in a new bag, in my chicken boots bag, that I'm so excited to have. I got this for Christmas from my mommy, with the butterflies. And let me tell you, last night we learned that Isaac likes this bag too. He sat and talked, I think, to one of these butterflies here. Sat and talked to them and laughed and looked at it. He just loved it. Loved it. But inside the bag, if you were with me last year, you will recognize this yarn. Maybe. I wanted to spin, and I wanted something really quick, and I have been enamored with long draw worsted woolen spinning lately, and so I pulled this Shetland out and spun it up, a gray and a brown. I've had this, and this was in my stash for ages, just because I wanted to spin colorful things. But so these are woolen spun from a roving, so they are true woolen yarns. And I decided that I was going to cast on Bolt by Vera Valimaki. I wish I could show you a picture of this, but, well, maybe I can. Let me pull up on my phone. It was written to be knit with, out of Brooklyn Tweed, which is a woolen spun yarn. And so I thought, fingering woolen spun, so I thought this would be perfect. And here it is. So what I learned when, can you see it? What I learned when I downloaded the pattern is that it is a very asymmetrical. So you have section A are the, there we go. Section A are the skinny stripes. Section B is the larger stripes there. And then section C, I think, is the solid dark. And it makes loosely a boomerang shape. So you have a triangle on this end, and then the triangle has a really long bit. I didn't realize that. I thought it was just a triangle. But I'm still good with it. Paid for the pattern. I'm going to do it. This was the plan. Sticking with the plan, Stan. Alright. So here we are so far. I have half of the stripes I need to for the first section to be complete. And you can see it's garter stitch. Garter stitch love all the way. And I think it's turning out absolutely beautiful. I'm so excited about it. I'm using a 4mm needle, as called 4mm. No, US 4, which is a something. Let's see. What size is that? 3.5mm needle. My yarn, I think, is sometimes fingering weight. sometimes a little thicker. But, and I was afraid down here when I first started that it was going to be too tight, but I forged ahead. I am confident that when I get it wet and block it, it'll really relax, and I'm really enjoying it. There it is. I'm very excited about it. Those are my FOs and whips. I'll be back in a little bit to talk to you about some spinning. Okay, so my good friend Daniela is hosting with Caffeinated Knitting on her Caffeinated Knitting podcast. Out of practice here, apparently. A 2016 spin along, 1 braid a month, so 12 and 16. I went ahead, I'm treating it like a spin the bin kind of situation. Here's my bin of all my pretties. Now a lot of these are Preciouses. Like this one is very old. And a lot of them, or some of them, aren't so new or so old. These I just got very recently. This I got at SAF this year. So I went through and I almost willy-nilly at random plucked out 12 braids that I don't know why I wasn't spinning. So the first one I started with, because I was having a down day that day, and I decided I wanted something happy looking. I've already divided it up. This is from Funky Carolina, the Bombit colorway. It is a Superwash Merino, Cashmere and Silk blend, 75-15-10, 4 ounces. And it's just a super fun mix of colors, you know, kind of yellow, some pink, blue, undyed, some brown spots, purple, that sort of thing. Here's another section. And I divided it in half and then just tore it in the middle and then split it down one half down lengthwise 4 ways. Here's the bit I have yet to split lengthwise. Babies are so funny. So there it is. I started spinning it. I've only spun one of these tiny little guys. I haven't sat back down with it. But here it is. This is what I've done so far. And I think I had been saving this because I felt like I was going to need to short forward draw it. Okay, so let's get over here. Here we are. Say hi. Hi. Okay, so I was afraid that it would need to be short forward drawn. And when I sat down, I had full intentions of doing the short forward draw. Well, you know, plans. My hands really prefer a more woolen method, and that's what they started doing, and it seems to be working just fine. I think I'm not going to get near the amount of yardage I got when I would do the short forward draw, more worsted style spinning, but that's okay. That's okay. Say that's okay, Isaac. So that's my spinning. Okay, let's talk about some acquisitions. Let's talk about some things I got for Christmas. I'm really excited about. I have gotten a few little bits of yarn, but I don't want to. We'll just start fresh. Just start at Christmas with things that aren't yarn that I received. First, I received a Namaste circular case. I'm very excited about this because my current solution for how to store my circular needles is not quite working. It's hard to find what I want. I don't even know what I have. So it's just like a accordion file. It has some little things so you can write what size needle is in each little pocket. I'm really excited about getting everything together in here. I haven't decided exactly how I'm going to start using it. I don't know. I gotta figure that out. But I'm really excited about it. I'm also fairly excited about my Knitter's Coloring Book by Mason-Dixon Knitting. So yeah, I'm really excited about this too. I don't expect my coloring to look as good as it does on the back cover, but I think it's kind of fun. There are some just real simple bits like that. Looks like there's a log cabin and a mitered square blanket there. That's kind of fun. But yeah, all sorts of different things here. I just need to get some colored pencils and get started. And finally, for non-fibery acquisitions, I also received, this has been on my list for so long, I'm really excited about it. I now own A Treasury of Knitting Patterns by Deborah Walker. I put this on my Amazon wish list back in the day when I thought maybe I could design. Now, since then, there's so many wonderful designers out there. There is no reason for me to try to design. There's not. But, because I wouldn't necessarily be really good at it. But I do want to do things like I really appreciate the design of the Zuzu's petals. I would like to knit it again, but I don't like knitting the same thing over and over and over and over. So I thought it would be interesting to change out the lace pattern. This will help me do that. So yeah, it's just, you know, a book of knitting patterns. Just patterns for lace. There's color changing patterns. Let's see what. Let's look at the table of contents, shall we? Knit purl combinations, ribbings, color change, slip stitch, twist stitch, fancy texture, patterns made with yarn over stitches. So I guess you could read, no, I'd say you could read lace, but I don't think so. Eyelet patterns, lace, cables, and cable stitch patterns. By far the lace chapter is the largest chapter. But I'm looking really forward to kind of exploring my knitting with this. So today we've talked about my goals, about not hoarding the precious, using more hand spun, trying to spin on a more regular basis. We've talked about a couple of FOs I've had since I talked to you last. We've talked about a couple of whips I've been working on very recently, like in over the weekend. Talked about some spinning, some things I got, and I think that's it. I think that wraps it up. So I hope with this that you guys are having a wonderful, wonderful start to your new year. It is just the 3rd today, no, the 4th today. So we're 4 days in. How's it going? I think I'm doing okay. Working towards finding my new normal. Still, will there ever be a normal again? I don't think so. But until I can find the next day of normal to sit down and talk to you guys, I'm going to sign off. My name is Amanda. I'm Mandy Cat on Ravelry, M-A-N-D-I-K-A-T. You can also find me on Pinterest and on Instagram. Remember, if you try to be my friend, have something, a picture, or if you're private, have something in your little bio telling me you're a knitter, or I probably won't friend you. Anyway. The ways you can get in touch with me will be at the end on a little splash screen. I hope, again, you're having a Happy New Year. And let's see what it brings us, shall we? Happy knitting. I'll see you next time.
I just can't wait to finish. I got the kitten knitting blues. No, I just can't wait to finish. That's why I got those kitten knitting blues.